And a pleasant good morning to each and every one of you, and welcome into the Power Lunch. I'm your host, Kenneth Forte. I'm so glad to have you tuned in with us today. It is a beautiful day outside, so I hope that you get a chance to go out and enjoy some of the beautiful sunshine. We do want to remind you that early voting has started, and it started on Friday, so we will encourage you to make a plan to get out and vote. Of course, Election Day is August 1st for the primaries, so you know the candidate of your choice, and we just encourage you, regardless of who you vote for, to vote. Because if you don't vote, you silence your voice, and that is something we don't want to do. We want to encourage everyone to let your voice be heard. Vote for the candidate of your choice as we prepare for the fall election, and now we're in the primary. So we've got school board elections, we've got state representative of the 69th district and 78th district. Those are on the ballots as well. So hope that you will make a plan and go vote. Today's a fun day. Excuse me. We've got a couple of outstanding guests today, and I'm just so tickled pink that with our first guest, and I'll be tickled pink with Renee Bain, second half of the show as well. Renee, of course, from the Dixon County Help Center. But we also, before we get into talking to our guests, we want to remind you we have coming up this Saturday, the Back to School Bash. And we've got stuff everywhere as far as information. You can also drop off supplies at Luke's breakfast and burgers restaurant. Go by, check him out. He's giving you a discount for donating school supplies, folks. And one of the reasons we do this is because it is so vitally important that our kids get to start the school year with everything that they need. Hey, I was that kid, so that's why it's important to me personally. And so we want to encourage you. Now, also, if you know a kid or if you know a family that has a need, Saturday, we open the doors at 9, but people start lining up as early as 6 and 7 o'clock. We have also the school system will be represented. We have our SROs. We have the Dixon County Help Center. We have Sunrisa. We have a host of organizations that will be represented on Saturday. And all of that is to give you the information as parents, as grandparents, guardians that you need to make sure that your child has everything that they need to start the school year. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help everybody get off to a good start. And in the past, we've given out as many as 1,500 bags of school supplies, and we will continue to do that. This is our 5th year doing it. So we're loving every minute of it because we get to add value to our community, and that's what we do here at 101.5 The Ride and WDKN and WDHC TV is adding value to our community. And that is so important to us because in order for our kids to excel as they continue to grow, as our guest has done, it takes a village. It takes all of us providing and supplies and all the things that are needed to help our kids, and encouraging words always make a difference. I am so excited to have in the studio with me on the first half of our show, Miss Cassie. Hey, girl.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Look, we are so excited to have you. Cassie's my new best friend.
We met at the coffee shop this morning. No big deal.
Yep. So
very meet cute.
But what was cool is that you're from this community. Mm-hmm. You graduated, and now you're doing what you love. You're a teacher. So kind of tell people, introduce yourself to people who may not know you.
So my name is Cassie Perez. I am a middle school teacher. I know everybody. Anytime I tell somebody people that, they're like, "Oh my God, bless your heart. How do you do it?" And I've taught all grades. When I student taught, I did high school. My very first year, I did the littles and did 3rd grade. And middle school is just that sweet spot where you can be sarcastic to them, and they'll play along with you,
give you a little
rather than looking at a 3rd grader and being sarcastic, and they just kind of stare at you. It's fun.
Big difference.
It is. But yes, I love what you guys are doing with the Back to School Bash. It is so, so, so important to start kids off prepared.
Yeah.
And, most people don't really think about how it affects the classroom, but especially post-COVID learning is so difficult to kind of classroom manage, get kids, set, prepared, the attention span. And so something as small as kids not having like paper or pencils or highlighters or some, just the basic stuff that you would think they would need can throw off the rhythm that you try to get them into so fast. It becomes well, let me ask so-and-so for this. Well, let me go over here. Well, let me do this. Miss Perez, I don't have this. Miss Perez, I don't have that. And it takes 20 minutes just to get prepared for a 20-minute lesson. And I'm not going to lie to you. I call my kids little goldfishes. They have 3-second attention spans. I try to get them set. And so if, you're constantly having to address those kinds of issues, it becomes teachers don't make a lot of money, but we, and I hope I speak for all teachers when I say this, have no problem providing what our classroom needs. Yep. But it's so helpful when they already come prepared with those little things.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, because we get a chance to work with a bunch of teachers, and my son's a teacher, as you know, and giving kids what they need to get started goes a long ways towards the success that they're able to accomplish throughout the school year. And the thing about you as a teacher is your kids look at you, and you are providing for them. So it's a bond beyond just a teacher-student.
Oh, absolutely. And I am really blessed to work in a school that's in like a lower income part of the state. And so, some of our kids come from single parent homes. Some of our kids come from homes where they live with the grandparents, or we had a lot of adopted kids this year who just need to feel like they have something that's their own. And so when they enter the classroom, knowing that they'll be provided for and taken care of with basic necessities is a really big deal to a lot of them.
Well, when we come back after the break, I want you to tell us why you actually decided to be a teacher. And we're going to do that after the break, folks. You're tuned into the Power Lunch here on 101.5 The Ride. We're back in just a moment. All right, we're back here inside the studios at 108 West College Street in downtown Dixon. I'm Kenneth Forte, your host, and our guest today on our first half of our show is Miss Cassie Perez, and we're so excited. She is a graduate of Miss. Miss. But she is a educator, a teacher, and she is a outstanding person. Now, here's the other cool part. Your parents own Main Street Emporium.
Sure do. And if you go today, all of our sales stuff is an extra 10% off with code CASSROCK. Come see us, get a little name drop, get a little extra money off.
Hey, get a little money off. Hey, I'm not mad at that at all. But what made you want to be an educator? What was it that, who was the teacher that you loved so much? It's like, I think I want to do that.
So, for starters, my mom loves to tell people that I've never met a stranger. Like, if I could talk to a wall and it would talk back, I would do it. And so when I was talking about, careers that I wanted to do, I told her, I said, I just want to do good things. I want to be around people. I want to talk to people. I want to be the reason that people enjoy doing a certain thing. And my high school, I went to Nashville Christian School over in Bellevue.
Yep.
They kind of partner with Western Hills, which is the church right beside them.
Yes.
And they go to Honduras every year on a mission trip.
Okay.
And so I told my mom, I was like, I want to go. I want to go to Honduras. We're Hispanic. It gives me time to practice my Spanish. All these fun things. And she's like, yeah, because we don't speak that in the house. And so we got all the money together, and I went on my first trip, and there were so many teachers who went on the trip with us.
Wow.
And I, was talking to them a lot, and I said, I get that this is great for you guys because you have summer break, but why aren't you relaxing? Why are you spending your summer building houses in 99-degree heat with humidity on the side?
Honduras,
oh my goodness.
I have friends who've gone on mission trips over there.
The humidity, we think it's bad here. You are breathing in water over there. It's rough.
Yes.
And they just said that they felt so fulfilled in their teaching career that they just wanted to continue it in the summer because we had Bible studies, we, helped build schools, build houses, we had medical clinics, and they said, it gives me the same rush that teaching gives me.
Yeah.
And, being like a 16, 17-year-old girl, I'm like, really? Being a teacher gives you a rush? Okay, weirdo. And so I have always been into music. I love music. And so I told my mom, I said, I really think like music therapy would be such a fun career. Mm-hmm. And so we had looked at a couple of schools, and because music therapy isn't as well known as like art therapy or horse therapy or something like that, there weren't a lot of colleges that did it. So when I went to Ole Miss, they talked to me about it, and they said, well, we can kind of cheat the system and do like a vocal education degree with like a minor in psychology and kind of cross them over. I was like, okay, great. Well, they make you student teach when you're in your last semester of any education program. And I went to the school, and I met the teacher, and I was super fortunate. She was actually the Mississippi Teacher of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Year. Yeah, I was very blessed.
It's like, how blessed do you get to be?
I was just the favorite that year. But she was so passionate about her job. Mm-hmm. She taught music history. She taught choirs. They didn't have a middle school choir teacher, so she took her planning periods and taught the middle school choir because she wanted them to have that foundation. And I would love to say that I followed in her footsteps, and my passion just grew. Having those connections with the kids, knowing that if they are not having a good home life or if they're not having a good day, they can come to your classroom and not just feel safe, but feel like a better person when they leave. Learning socially, educationally, emotionally. There's so many things that go into a teacher outside of the just curriculum that people think we do. Mm-hmm. And I just love it. I love that.
Well, I mean, your first year, you taught special education. Year 2, you taught science and social studies. And year 3, you taught math.
So I graduated during COVID.
Yes.
And, when COVID was so big, I mean, there were people wearing like two masks and a face shield. Like there was no need for choir during COVID. And it was so difficult to find a job. And I got very lucky that we did some work for Lipscomb Academy, and they were looking for special needs assistants. And so I signed up, and one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had. If you think you're a patient person, spend a day in a special ed classroom, and it'll show you that you're wrong.
And my son did that his first year.
Yeah.
First year.
And I attribute a lot of my current classroom management and how I approach kids in their situations to my first year in special ed.
Yeah.
It's for them, it's all about the language and how you speak. Some of them don't understand when you say, no, you can't do that. Yeah. You have to use you can or can you language. Like you can say, I need help. Yeah. Rather than just being like, can you say you need help? Can you talk to me? Yeah. No, they can't. A lot of those kids don't make eye contact when they speak to you. Yeah. So understanding just the individual needs of those kids and then applying it to like a typical classroom, not as big of a difference as people would think, honestly. It's the same giving them the language, especially with middle schoolers, because they're in that weird phase of like, I'm too cool for you, but behind the scenes, I'll still give you a hug because I think you're really cool. But in front of my friends, I'm going to be like, I don't know you. Yeah.
Standoffish.
Right.
You're like, hey, it's not cool to hug me in public.
Correct. Yeah. Or like, no, I don't know you like that. Like, I have kids that will see me in Car Rider and they'll be like, what's up, Miss Perez? And I'm like, hey, buddy. And then we'll be in the hallway and they'll walk right past me. I'm the teacher that I turn around and I'm like, oh, okay, so we're not talking anymore because we're friends. And they're like, no, Miss Perez, I'm sorry. And so
you know what? I can see you doing that.
I do.
It's like, how you gonna mess up a brother's game like that?
Well, and it's hilarious because I teach 6th grade, and our building has 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So I still pass them in the hallways when they're going to class. And like my 6th graders from last year, when they would pass me this year, I'd be like, hey guys. They were just like, hey. I was like, oh, so we went to 7th grade. We ain't cool anymore. We ain't talk to Miss Perez like we used to. And they're like, hey Miss Perez.
It's
Like,
like,
okay.
you're trying to mess up my
got you.
game, Miss Perez.
Oh, I had a kid one time who was for sure trying to he wasn't trying to get noticed holding his girlfriend's backpack that we for sure called in 6th grade they were going to start dating.
Yep.
And I said, Trey, I see you holding your girl's backpack. Okay. And he was like, Miss Perez, it's not like that. And she turned, it is like that, Miss Perez. It is, you right.
How you gonna put he's like, how you gonna put me on Front Street like that, Miss Perez? I thought we were tight like that.
Bless his heart. Love them.
But that's something when you develop relationships with students over a period of time that they feel comfortable in that in trusting you.
And we were so fortunate to take a professional development course that was super focused on social emotional learning.
Yeah.
Where you develop that relationship with your kids. I mean, I have teachers in my brain that I'm like, man, her and I did not G-haul. We were not cool.
At
He
all.
didn't go into the class,
Yeah.
and my grades slipped because I didn't like the teacher.
Yes.
I didn't understand the teacher. And so my biggest goal going into teaching was to make sure that I established those relationships with my kids. They trusted me. They felt comfortable with me because I was also the kid in class who was like, I'm not going to be the one to ask a question. I don't want to look stupid.
Yep.
And it was because I didn't have a good relationship with that teacher. I knew that if I asked, it would be like oh, you really don't know?
Yeah.
Versus me having a playful relationship with my
Yes.
kids and being like, for real, you don't know what that is? Think about it. Think about it for a second. They'll still ask because they know they're not going to be reprimanded. It's going to be like
or embarrassed.
Right. And so it's so important to just have those relationships and establish those bonds and be the person that child might not get at home, might not get, if they play sports from their coach, might not get with their friends.
Yep.
It's important to just be a safe space.
And that is, in teaching, having had the opportunity to do so myself, it's a difference maker because the environment that you have in the classroom really, for some kids, may be the only safe space that they have.
Oh, 100%. The school that I taught at for the past couple of years was in a very low-income neighborhood, and a ton of my students either came from single-parent households or households where they lived with their grandparents or households where everybody and the mama lived in the house.
Yep.
It was very hard for them to have their own identity.
Yep.
And it's crazy how people don't understand that sometimes school is the only place where they can be themselves or they feel comfortable or they feel safe.
Yes.
And it's just so important to create that environment for them.
And what people don't realize is that can be in any community.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's
100%.
where, so many people misunderstand that happens in any community.
Absolutely.
And for a lot of kids, and particularly the teacher is the safe place.
Yeah, absolutely. On the polar opposite end of the spectrum, if you go to some of the higher end schools, it becomes I don't get personal time with mom and dad at home.
Yeah.
They have jobs that take them away all the time, or they're always going and doing something. They don't have that relationship, that understanding with their child, and having money versus not having money, it can be, like you said, it can be the same situation where they're just not getting their needs fulfilled. And sometimes the teacher is giving them that love and compassion and care that they don't receive at home.
Yep. Different communities, but same issues.
Absolutely.
And that happens, and we sometimes don't recognize that. Well, I also want to say congratulations to you because you got newly engaged to do something.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we're very excited. Fun fact, he was the UPS driver at my building at Ole Miss. And it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And they still had to wear masks at UPS, and all I remember doing was just staring into his eyes. He had the brightest, blue-green eyes I've ever seen on God's green earth. And I just remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, he has just, I could just melt in those eyes.
Like great eyes.
Yeah. And he came, he dropped his boxes, and he left. Of course, didn't pay me any attention. Who would? I was in sweatpants and a hoodie. Probably hadn't washed my hair in 3 days because that's college life.
Yep.
But I moved back home, and one of our mutual friends had posted him on her Snapchat story.
Oh, wow.
And was like, oh, our favorite UPS driver is back. And it was him without his mask. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's like really cute. And so, me being as bold as I am, I slid into his DMs. And I was just
yes, you are bold.
I was just like, hey, what's up? And he's so shy and reserved.
But remembered you.
But did. And
yes.
was just like, hey.
Like, did I deliver your packages?
Right. How did you get my Snapchat? And so, we started talking, and the guy that I was dating at the time, or had just broken up with, wouldn't even drive from Nashville to Dixon to go on a date with me, which was a big reason why we broke up.
Yeah.
He was very much like, well, you can come to Bellevue, or we can go out in Nashville. I'm like, well, that's a 45-minute drive for me. Well, I'll pay for your gas. That's not the point. That's not the point. It's the
you made a good choice.
matter.
You made a good decision.
And so, maybe a couple months after he and I had broken up was when I had seen him and was talking to him, and I told him, I said, I live in Nashville now. Like, I don't live in Mississippi anymore. And he was like, that's fine. I'll drive to you. I was like, going from a man who wouldn't drive
30 minutes
down the road to a man who will drive 3 hours down the road.
Girl, you did good.
He did. He
did.
He's
he
so
did.
Sweet.
He really did. And but anyone that knows you or meets you knows how wonderful you are.
Thank you.
And now, here's what we want people to do.
Okay.
We want people to go to Main Street Emporium
100%
to get this discount.
You should just go there in general. But yes.
Yeah, you should go there in general. But we're gonna,
we love a discount.
We love a discount.
I used to tell Mom that my boyfriend before my fiance was Clarence. I love him. He's phenomenal.
Clearance.
Yes.
So you'll get that later.
Over some people's heads.
Yeah, you'll
fine.
get that.
Yes, go to Main Street Emporium. Tell my mother or me at the register. I'll be there the rest of the day. Just say Cass rocks, or I heard you on the radio. You'll get tax-free. We love tax-free. We have so many gifts for all occasions. We have a huge sale section right now because we're actually going to Atlanta Market for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we won't be open for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But we're going to get new things for Christmas, new things for the fall.
It is Christmas shopping time.
And
Christmas
so
time.
if you guys have any ideas of things that you don't see on the strip that you want, or anything that you think would just fit in our store really well, please do not hesitate to give us ideas, because sometimes it's very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Atlanta Market is 3 of these giant towers that are interconnected.
Oh, wow.
And it's got all sorts of things, from furniture to food options to the things that you see in our store.
Yeah.
And it can be super overwhelming. And, questions that we always ask are is this something Dixon would like? We have a lot of people that visit from Clarksville. We have a lot of people that come through on their way to Nashville that stop in Dixon, because Dixon has grown so much.
Yes, it is huge.
And so, we love to be a spot that people can come and get things that they wouldn't see other places, but also we have a good amount of Dixon specific stuff, because we're very proud of our city. So.
Yep. Well, and the other thing is, you guys do trophies as well, because you're repairing an award that we won. So we appreciate that.
Yes, we do trophies, plaques. We also do embroidery. We have a laser engraving machine in the back.
Oh, wow.
We can put, we have different types of Yukon stainless steel cups, and we do wood and leatherette hats. We do all the things. That's what my mom loves to say whenever somebody asks her. She's like, we have all the things.
You know she's going to get you for that,
right?
I
know. I can't wait to go back and her be like, I can't believe you said that on the radio.
Yes, they do all the things. All the things. Well, Cassie, we got to get you back on.
I would love
you got to come
that.
co-host the show one day with me. And we appreciate you. Think the world of you. You're just wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And so we're so excited. We need to take a break, and when we come back, Renee Bain from the Dixon County Help Center is going to be joining us in the studio to kind of give you an update on some of the things that they're doing. We also remind you, again, tell a friend, tell a neighbor that the Back to School Bash is going on this Saturday at the Dixon County Fairgrounds. Big shout out to the Fair Board for allowing us to use the facilities there. We'll be in the Greer and the Chandler building, and so we hope that you will make plans to be there. And then we're going to have a whole lot of booths. I think our friends from Channel 2 are going to come down as well. And we'll be on Channel 2 on Friday as well on their midday show talking about the big back to school bash. So we're excited about that as well. But taking a break, we'll be back in just a moment. You're tuned into the Power Lunch here on 101.5 The Ride. Back in just a moment.